Phillip Anthony Mitchell's story began in the bustling streets of Queens, New York. Born to Trinidadian immigrants, his home was steeped in faith. His mother introduced his father to Christianity. Yet, the streets offered a different kind of education. "Phillip, you have a calling on your life," his mother would often say. "God's got his hand on you." But at 12 years old, Phillip wasn't listening. He was too busy counting cash from his first crack deal. By 17, he was gripping guns and running from the law. Still, his parents prayed endlessly. "Phillip, I'm worried," his father confessed one night. "These streets will eat you alive if you don't turn to God." Phillip rolled his eyes. "God? Dad, there's no God out here. Everyone is out here just trying to make it." His downward spiral forced his mother to make a bold move. "We're leaving, Phillip. North Carolina will be better for you," she said firmly, tears brimming in her eyes. But in North Carolina, things only got worse. Phillip fell in with a group of older men, killers, drug lords, and gun runners. At first, he was in awe of their power. "These guys are untouchable," he thought. But a decade in this life left him hollow. By his 20s, Phillip had everything: a luxury car, a beautiful apartment, stacks of cash, and a stunning girlfriend. Yet, he stared at the ceiling each night, feeling emptier than ever. One evening, his girlfriend burst through the door after surviving a horrific car crash. Her face was streaked with tears. "Phillip, it's a miracle I'm alive," she exclaimed. She fell to her knees and began worshiping. "What are you doing?" Phillip asked, baffled. "Thanking God," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "He saved me, Phillip. I can feel him here." Phillip stood frozen, watching as she lifted her hands in praise. Later that night, unable to sleep, he stumbled into the bathroom. On his knees, he stared at the tiles. "If you're real, God," he whispered, his voice cracking, "show me. Do something, because I can't keep living like this." All of a sudden, a wave of peace washed over him. Tears streamed down his face as years of anger, frustration, and pain broke apart. "You're real," he muttered, his voice trembling with awe. "You're really real." The next morning, Phillip woke with a newfound conviction. When he tried to be intimate with his girlfriend, guilt overwhelmed him. "I can't do this anymore," he said, pulling back. "What's wrong?" she asked. "I don't know," Phillip admitted, "but I feel like God's showing me a better way." Phillip's journey with God wasn't a straight path. After 3 years of walking faithfully, he fell back into sin. "God's done with me," he told a friend. "I messed up too much." But God had other plans. In Ohio, while attending Bible college, Phillip was asked to preach at a chapel service. "Me? Preach?" he said, laughing nervously. "You've got the wrong guy." The professor smiled. "Pray about it, Phillip. You have a story to tell." Phillip prayed, fasted, and eventually said yes. As he stood at the podium, his hands shook. "I'm not a preacher," he began. "I'm just a man who's been saved by grace." As Phillip spoke, something shifted in the room. Students wept, giving their lives to Christ. Afterward, a professor pulled him aside. "God's not done with you," he said, his eyes shining with certainty. That moment reignited Phillip's calling. He vowed to live with unrelenting passion for the Lord. Years later, as the founder of 2819 Church in Atlanta, Phillip's fiery sermons often left people talking. "Pastor, you need to chill," one member joked after service. Phillip smiled. "If you'd seen where God pulled me from, you'd understand why I'm this way." Today, Phillip's goal isn't fame or platforms. "I'd rather be in my prayer room than on a stage," he says often. "Success to me is finishing the race and keeping the faith." For Phillip Anthony Mitchell, life is about living for the God who gave him a second chance and helping others find theirs. If Phillip's inspiring journey of faith, redemption, and passion inspired you, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more uplifting stories.